Hello and welcome to the Spotlight Show, a non-partisan show that puts a spotlight on social, economic, and in extension political issues affecting the youth with an aim of informing and inspiring action. On today's show, we dissect the revenue sharing impasse at the Senate, the place of young people in social, economic change, and on our social segment, we have a must-watch feature on the plight of graduates. And joining me for this discussion and to dissect issues is Vincent Ketch, a political analyst. And yes, do feel free to engage us. Our social media handle, rather our Twitter handle is at the Spotlight Show. Vincent, how did we find ourselves in this mess with regards to the Senate impasse?
Well, first, I must say that this is something enshrined in the Constitution. The CRA, the Commission of Revenue Allocation, is mandated to come up with a formula for revenue distribution. And this formula they proposed, they gave it to the Senate, which at start it was shot down. And there came in some recommendations to be included in this formula. From where I sit, I would allude to why we are here right now to three main factors. The first factor, the BBI. The second factor, the future political formulation. And the third factor is the failure of the leadership in the House. Now, how does BBI affect this? The senators, from where I sit, they are trying to buy time. In that when we are voting for BBI, because it's something that is on its way, we can vote for the bill and the BBI at the same time. Now, they are trying to shift the blame from themselves. They don't want to pass this bill intentionally, to shift the blame from them to us, so that they will say that we are the ones who voted for this bill during the BBI. Now, the second thing is the future political formulations. From where I sit right now, we can see KANG'ATA team and Keleweke team, they are not tending to understand each other. And for the first time, after a long time, we saw the KANG'ATA team and the ODM members voting on one way. I mean, from where I sit, I'm tempted to think that we might just be seeing another Ruto-Raila formulations in the future. From where I sit, I mean, we might be going there. And the third and the last reason why we are here today is the failure of the leadership in the House. I mean, what happened is historical. It is the first time when the majority leader and the chief whip loses a motion in the floor of the House. From where I sit, it is unfortunate. I mean, this is something, I mean, it is unpredictable. And I must also say that the majority leader, I think he's just clueless. I think he's chest thumping, which should not be the case with these people. These people, he should be more persuasive to these people. That's my take. What do you think of that?
Well, we find ourselves in this impasse because it all started with the discussion, or rather the protracted negotiation on what amounts to devolve. A compromise was reached at 316.5 billion. The first reason why we're here is because of, politics taking precedence over patriotism. If you look at chapter 4 of our bill, or chapter 4 of the bill, the Bill of Rights, it's about securing taxpayers and citizen rights as opposed to securing community and the interest of regions and personality. That is why we think that this debate has been distorted and shifted to cater for individual interests. It has again been weaponized, to position the senators, as champions of their community interests and personal interests, even if their point of argument does not hold credence morally and legally. The reason why we are also here is a lack of understanding. Are we talking about equity or are we talking about equality? You see, if we are having this debate and we are talking about equity, then it is all about fairness. But equality is saying that a family of 10 people and a family of 2 people should both receive the same amount of, let's say, loaves of bread, if that is what was, being distributed. And lastly, as much as devolution is a constitutional right, let us be careful as a country not to degenerate to that place of the handout mentality where our counties are only looking up to the national government for what it can give them. We need to come to a place of asking ourselves, what is it that the counties can also contribute? And our counties are very, very much resourced. We need to ask ourselves, how can we harness and maximize this to ensure that our counties are adequately financed and that we can also finance the national kitty. Let's move this discussion forward and ask ourselves, I mean, there has been a lot of passionate pleas and statements in the Senate. One caught my eye, in the words of the former Deputy Speaker Kithure Kindiki, Professor Kithure Kindiki. He said that we have lied to ourselves for far too long, that we are for development. This is the day to bite the bullet and confront the ugly truth that we have been living a lie, that we are a nation, one people. Is this the usual politics of one side flexing and trying to frustrate the other, or is this politics unusual?
Well, I must say that this is one side trying to flex its muscles.
Right.
Remember, KANG'ATA already has numbers, and Kieleweke are there now balancing, trying to get numbers. What KANG'ATA team is trying to tell Kieleweke team is, we are the ones who used to help you to pass those bills you used to pass. Right now, we are not there for you, and you can't pass it. And you see, last week I was speaking with a senator friend of mine. He was just trying to show me and to tell me how the now majority leader tried to speak with the former majority leader to try and request him to help him get the numbers. I think it is uncalled for. And from where I see it, this debate is political.
All right.
How? Remember, 2022 is around the corner. And the regions where the current proposed bill is going to take money from is the regions which mostly voted for Jubilee. So what KANG'ATA is trying to do is they're trying to show this region like, we are trying to speak on your behalf. We are trying to support you not to lose your money. This is a bargaining power that come 2022, they will go to northeastern region, they will go to Mandera, they will go to Garissa, they will go to Lamu and tell them that we spoke on your behalf. So it's a game of numbers, and again, it's a game of cards. I don't know, what's your take on that?
One of the things that I have to say is that we have gotten it totally, in reverse order as a country. We've got to say it in this show that devolution first is for country before it is for counties. That is number one. And for there to be cohesion in our nation, then I agree with Senator Sakaja that we need to have equalization of opportunities. I do agree with you that this is politics as usual, because let's be honest, this bill, this formula was introduced in the Senate over an year ago, and it gave the Senate ample time to be able to debate this and come to a logical compromise or conclusion. Right now, as it sits, we're just about to disrupt, service delivery in our counties. Also, look at the Senate in itself. When this bill came over, they did some recommendations on the formula, and they retained the principle of allocation based on population. It's very interesting that again they still shot it down. And lastly, remember that this is a privilege that comes once every 5 years for the senators, and I think the senators are trying to milk it for what it is worth as they try to angle themselves for 2022 politics. But again, it is a wait and see. We will be here in 2022 definitely to discuss these things. In the words of Ambassador KANG'ATA, the US ambassador to Kenya, he said that why keep hauling water up a hill if 800 billion Kenya shillings is leaking from the Mutungi all the way there? Will youth get in office and continue the tradition, or have they had enough? This donor has. Will the youth put a stop to this or just join the tradition of thievery? Youth, what do you say? Vincent, I put it to you straight. What do you say?
Well, I must say that the U.S. ambassador is a bright man, is a friend of mine. And one good thing about him is he says it as it is, just like I do. And for this specific one, you know, the reason why, no, for this specific one, I would like to refer to the words of the former UK, I would like to refer to the words of David Cameron, the former UK Premier. And I'd like to say, just like he said it, the evil in our society about corruption is everywhere in the world. But the problem is, it lies in where we don't need it most. Infrastructure, we have corruption. Health system, we have corruption. Our education system is so corrupt. And I would really refer to the book by one Dambiza Moyo, The Dead Aid, who says that the problem in Africa is not the fundings. It's about the utilization of these fundings. I mean, she says that we receive a lot of money, but now we cannot substantiate how it's been used. And I'd really like to call on my people that we must not rely on the donor fundings. But even if the time we get them, let us utilize them perfectly. I think I agree with the U.S. I think I agree with the U.S. ambassador and really call for our people. Let's just try be transparent. Let us try be honest, and let's utilize the funds to the intentions they were made for. And also I think in addition to that, I would like to advise the donors. Don't just splash your money. Try check, try investigate if the money have been used in the intended functions. And option 2 I would give them is, let us come with an institution. Let us come with institutions in that this money can go to the youth directly. The problem we are having right now is this money is not coming down to us. Let us come with institutions that youth can access this money directly from them. I think that will be my take. I don't know. What's your take?
A very good reference when you're talking about Dambisa Moyo. There is a quote I really like about, there's a quote that she put across and I really like in her book, Dead Aid. I think that is in page 46 or 47. And she says that the problem with aid is that it is not benign. It is malignant. And she goes further to say that it is no longer part of the problem, part of the solution. In fact, aid is the problem. And I say aid is a problem because of the following. It might have been well-intentioned by the donors, but on the ground there is little accountability and coordination, as you have also alluded to it, and it provides easy money for our top politicals to pocket it in corruption and and bribery and all those things. But again, something that I must also highlight is that corruption is a systemic issue, and it's exacerbated by the Kitu Kidogo culture. Today, most of the young people are not into, they want the fish, but they do not want to, to know how to fish or to go even how to fish. The way forward on this one is that it calls for personal responsibility. Not collective, personal responsibility. And again, we've got to build capacity for young people if we are going to take over. And lastly, I must say that on this question, the young people are rising up, because lo and behold, I have sat across tables with young people who are exuberant and diligent, young people who are refusing to be bystanders, and they want to change in order to engage. They want to change to engage in order to change the system. Talking about changing the system, last week I was talking to a friend of mine, and these were his words, that with the levels of misinformation and ignorance in the country, we can only bet on the next generation, because this one is sleeping, dead asleep in fact. Are we asleep, Vincent?
Well, I must say that that has been the myth, but I would like to confirm that on behalf of the youth of this country,
yes,
We have been sleeping we have been sleeping for a long time, but we are not sleeping anymore, because right now I can see youth reading the Constitution. I can see youths engaging in governance of this country. I can see youths questioning the decisions by the leaders of this country. Here we are. We are questioning the applicability of the CRM's, the CRA's proposal. So I would throw that away. The youth are not asleep. We are awake. We are seeing, and soon we are going to take an action.
Well, soon we're going to take an action. I think,
Yes.
to be honest, we are dead asleep. We are dead asleep, and the reason why I say that is, if you look at the United Nations Department for Population, it says that 76 of our population is under 35 years. That makes for 8 out of every 10 Kenyans is under the age of 35. And our demographic dividend is something that needs to work for us. But it is only going to work for us if we can be able to lobby, organize, and then lobby. The problem with the young people, or with the young people, has been for a long time, we have not been organized. Once we are organized, then we can lobby. Lobby for what? Number one, being the majority, we need to lobby and ensure that government programs are designed to meet our needs. That is number one. And number two, we also need to lobby for economic reforms that, you know, spur job creation and inclusive development. I also have to say that there is something that our politicals understand that we do not understand. They understand that they need us, but we do not understand that we can do without them. That is something that we definitely need to understand. And going forward, I would say that the young people need to get to a point where they treat as an alternative any political who treats them as an alternative.
Correct.
And we have to bring now this to a close. To the young people who are listening and watching us right now, Vincent, your word to them who are asking themselves, what do I do? What would you have them do?
Well, first, I'd like to tell the youth to be diligent. Let us question. Let us read. Let us know, both local and international. Let us be aware. Let us be informed. Let us be engaged. Let us participate in the governance of this country, because it's only then that we will know what's going on and we will make a proper decision when the time comes. So I call on the youth, every youth, let us start taking action and let us start being involved in the decisions of this country, because today might not be our today, but remember, tomorrow is ours. So we must define where we want to go as a people.
All right. I think for me, it's just 4 basic things. Number one, the young people need to understand their rights. And the start of that is acquainting themselves with the international laws from which our youth policies are derived. And a good starting point is the African Youth Charter. The second one is we need to get uncomfortable with the status quo. That's the only way that we will go to the grassroots and start mobilizing. The third thing that needs to happen is that we need to change what informs us as young people. Money, tribe, and political affiliation should not be the currency or our currency when it comes to electing a national leader. The other thing is accountability. And lastly, if I was to talk to the young people of this country, I would say you need to believe in yourself. And if there ever comes a time that you don't believe in yourself, always remember about that skinny kid with a funny name who became the president of the United States. I'm talking about one and only Barack Obama.
Of course.
You can take this home for us.
Remember, this conversation continues on our social media platform. On Facebook, Spotlight Show Kenya. On YouTube, Spotlight Show. On our Twitter handle, Spotlight Show Kenya. And on our Instagram page, Spotlight_Kenya. Until the very next time, remember, as a youth, you're only young ones. So be wise. Goodbye and stay safe.